Hi, welcome to BPTV. I'm your host Andy Amrine, and this is another Handy Andy segment. And we do appreciate you tuning in to our segments on BPTV. And today, this is January here in Bethel Park, so we're going to do a segment on a bunch of different snow, winter, storm-related products. We have another storm coming our way, potential to be a big one, so I thought I would take a couple minutes, and we've done shows on salt and shovels and snow blowers and stuff like that. I thought we would concentrate more on some items for the car, from the windshield washer fluid to the snow brushes to de-icers to there's some new gloves on the market I'm very excited about, and also talking a little bit about entry mats, snow mats, and boot trays and hand warmers and products like that. So let's take a look. Brought a wide variety here, but some of the biggest things that we need for your cars, your trucks, your SUVs and so forth are going to be the windshield washer fluid. And I get asked a lot about the different windshield washer fluids. With the windshield washer fluids, you have your typical blue fluid, you have your purple, you have your orange. And there actually is a big difference between what these three products are. Now, most people are familiar with the blue, and believe it or not, when you're buying the blue, there is a summer grade and a winter grade on the blue. Now, when of course you get into the summer grade, it only goes down to about 50 degrees. You get into the winter grade, then you're talking into the minus 20 degrees on it. But when you're looking at these temperature ratings on windshield washer fluids, you have to realize that this is not just air temperature that you have to take into account. Say you're driving on the interstate, you're driving at 60 miles per hour, it's 20 degrees outside. What's that wind chill going to do? That wind chill is going to take you down to very well below zero. And that's why in using the blue windshield wiper fluids, a lot of times you're going to still get that solution that's going to freeze on the windshield, and you're just constantly spraying it and wiping it and spraying it and wiping it, because it doesn't just give you that little bit extra temperature that you need for the wind chill that's going on the windshield itself. Then you get into the purple. The purple is going to get you to that minus 30 degrees, that extra 10 degree temperature, which is going to help. But also what purple does, it's made by Cutter, and it actually has a cleaning agent that is put in there, not just a de-icer. So not only is it better at taking care of the ice because of the temperature range, but also what it does is it does a lot better job of cleaning the windshield of the dirt and grime and so forth. Then if you want to go all the way, my favorite, I like the one that is called Rain-X. And just like the name Rain-X is, what this windshield washer fluid does is it has the low temperature range. It also has the cleaning agent, but also with Rain-X, it puts that clear coat over top of the windshield. So once you spray it, it's going to help all the sludge that bumps up from the roads or the trucks driving by or so forth. It actually is going to bead and wash that right off. So really, when you're using the Rain-X, you're using less solution than you would with the purple or with the blue, because it puts that coating on there to help actually keep the windshield clean, because it just beads and washes it right off. A couple other products that I like to keep handy is we have a windshield de-icer. De-icer, the other morning, we had that ice storm that came in just before rush hour itself. And a lot of people went out and they see 1/8 inch of ice, 1/4 inch of ice on their windshield itself. And it's going to take a long time for them to heat up and or to chip away at that ice. You get a product like the windshield de-icer, you spray this on and it instantly heats through that ice, so it very quickly breaks up and takes that ice off of the windshield itself without having to wait 20 minutes or so for the car to warm up and you to scrape everything off the windshield with it. Another one is the lock de-icer. Lock de-icer, same thing. You get one of those bad storms, a lot of that rain, freezing rain, you're going to have the locks itself that'll end up freezing, and you need a way to get into the vehicle itself. This, you just squeeze it right into it. It instantly thaws out that lock. You put in your key, turn the key, and away the door goes and opens on it. The big trick you got to realize with this is don't store it in the car. This is something that you need to keep, ladies, keep it in your purse or keep it in your garage, your shed, your junk drawer in your kitchen or something. So when you wake up, you go out there and you can't get your key in, you can run back in, get your lock de-icer and go from there. But keeping it inside your car itself and then the locks are frozen, it's not going to do you a whole bunch of good there. So having that handy somewhere else in your house is going to be a great thing for it. A couple of the other things I wanted to talk about is the Peak Jump Starter. Real cold temperatures are coming. We're going to be below 0 here, and battery might be on this last leg and you get a dead battery. This is a device that you can keep in the trunk of your car. You charge it at home, you're carrying it around charged, and if you get a dead battery, you could call AAA, of course, an amazing company, and then you just wait for them to come and jump your car. But with this, you just pull it out of the trunk, you hook up the red and black cables on it, and it'll jump start your car from this battery pack. But the other nice thing with this is you could use this other times. Say you're out somewhere and your phone needs charge, you could plug your phone in there. Say the power's out at the house, you can run a light off of here, you can run an appliance off of here, you can, jump start your car and so forth with it. But it's actually a nice backup battery and so forth for using during those storms or power outages, or you're on a picnic somewhere and you want to play a radio, or once again, charge your phone or something with it. These Peak units are an amazing thing to have around the house and in the car itself. Other thing that I like to carry is I like the collapsible shovels. With these shovels itself, you can lock it in, lock it out, and you can collapse these handles to make it for a lot easier type storage, but also have a big snowstorm coming. You're out, you're driving around, you get stuck, you need to dig out the back tires, the wheels or something on it, or you're drifting into a snowbank. This is something that really is going to come in handy, and it's nice, compact, or considered a kid's shovel. If you have a young son or daughter at home and you want them to help you shovel the driveway or something, it's something a lot more manageable for the youth to handle in doing it. Now I want to talk a little bit about snow brushes, snow scrapers. There's a lot of different types of snow brushes and scrapers that are on the market, and there's some newer ones. This is probably one of your more typical ones, been out for 20, 30 years, typical flat blade scraper, the bristles, shorter handle and so forth. But now getting into all the trucks and SUVs, you really need to have something that's a longer type reach on it. But a lot of these new scrapers are going to have double scraper jaws to it. This is one that's a serrated edge, and you could get these in little handheld units or into the bigger brushes. But with these serrated edges, these are going to do a lot better job of breaking up the ice for thicker ice compared to the smooth ones for just doing thin ice and so forth on it. But it has the breaker scrapers on one side and the brush on the other. But how about even if you're tired of the brushes where the bristles end up getting collapsed, or with the snow, or they freeze up, or sometimes they'll even scratch vehicles. Now you can get the type of scrapers that have the squeegees, the foam squeegees on it. And on this one made by True Temper, it actually has 4 different pieces to it. A heavier one, a softer one. This way, when it's brushing the snow off, it's actually going to do a really nice job of squeegeeing the window just perfectly dry on it. A lot nicer, a lot easier job, and a lot safer job for the cars. And on this one, once again, it has a double jaw teeth to it. So it has the serrated teeth, and it also has the finer teeth on the scraper. So all in one, I really like this new one from True Temper. Does a very, very nice job. Now, if you do have a large SUV, you can get, how about a 54-inch one? This one, you're going to be able to reach anything with it. And yes, it has the scraper on one side. It has the serrated scraper on the one side, but it has different lengths on it. So say you don't need the 54-inch. You can have it at all different lengths on it for those hard to reach or those close hoods and that. But also it has your typical bristle, but it also has that softer squeegee on it. So this is the one that I like to consider is an all-in-one, all-purpose, and for storage, you can even fold it flat so it lays flat into the vehicle itself. So it has the swivel head, has the extendable handles on it. It has different comfort grips on it, has the different jaws on it. This really is an all-in-one type of snow brush scraper for you, anyone in your family, from small vehicles to big vehicles. So moving a little bit away from cars and vehicles and so forth, I thought we'd take a couple minutes and talk about some of the newer gloves and hats and socks and everything that are on the market. There's a company now called Heat Holders. And with Heat Holders, it's an amazing company. Heat Holders, a lot of people maybe know Heat Holders from a company called Grabber. And Grabber's the one that makes all the hand holder type devices. But their heat holder gloves, their hats, their socks, and they make all different types of them. They make them women's colors. They have them for the men. They have them, or if you're construction and you want high visibility on them, they make them in the orange, the yellow. They have the visibility on the gloves also. But what these have is all gloves, hats, socks, and everything. They have a rating on it, what they call a TOG rating, a TOG. And on these TOG ratings, everything is marked on here on those TOG rating itself. And on these ratings, you will find that these are some of the highest rated gloves. These are some of the highest rated hats and socks that money can buy on them. They're super, super warm, soft on the inside. For the socks, even on the hats, you're going to see the lining and so forth on the hats. And same thing with the gloves. They have a super soft lining, and they are an extremely, extremely warm set of gloves. So gloves, hats, socks, men's size, women's size, different colors. I mean, anybody and everybody would be happy with what this company has to offer in the way of keeping you, your body, your head, your socks, and so forth nice and warm. One other specialty glove I wanted to show you. This is a rubber coated type of glove. And with this type of glove, a lot of people outside in the winter are working in liquids or in chemicals. And this is one that is a chemical resistant on it. So with this coating, and it is thermal lined, so say you're doing snow plows, or you're doing a lot of driveways, you're doing a lot of sidewalks, you want to keep those salt, the chemicals, the residue and everything off your hands itself. And that's something where these really come into play. That calcium, that magnesium, that rock salt, how it creates moisture and gets your typical gloves very soaking wet. This is one that you can have to use those and keep your hands dry. You keep your hands dry, you're going to be a lot warmer with it. So this, I consider this one of our specialty, type of products for it. But while we're talking about hands and skin, O'Keefe, they are our company that makes all the working hands. And I think we've talked about working hands before. The working hands is the cream that I use it every single morning when I get to work. And what the working hands does is it medicates my hands to keep them from cracking in the wintertime. I am around chemicals a lot from all the salt products a lot. And sometimes I'm picking these things up and I don't have time to get my gloves on. And what I found during the winter time, that I would get a lot of cracks in my skin, my thumbs, my hands, and so forth. So I use the working hands every morning when I go to work itself. But now they also have their relief product for itchy skin. Once again, during the wintertime, I get a lot of dry skin on the arms, on the legs, on the calves, and this is something I use once a day also, and it really keeps my skin from drying out. And the last, of course, is the lip repair, the lip balm on it. And this is a kit that you get all of them. You could buy all of these separate on it, but amazing, absolutely amazing products made by O'Keefe. And I just call it a guaranteed relief type of product. Something also outside, you're using your boots, whether you're skiing, whether you're hiking, or whether you're just working. You get wet feet, you're going to have very cold feet itself. So that's why I have a heated boot shoe dryer that I have at home. Also, we keep one at work for the staff if their shoes. These are something that you just plug it in, you turn it over, and it pretty quickly is going to dry out. A set of work boots, a set of tennis shoes, a set of anything on it. So it's a nice way of keeping your shoes and boots dry, so your feet are going to be dry with it. The other product for it are the hand warmers. I touched on it briefly that these grabber and on hand warmers itself, they make the 7-hour hand warmers, or they have the 12-hour hand warmers. So these are the ones that are the mega ones. These are the ones you open up the cellophane, you shake it up a little bit, you keep it inside your gloves, and it's going to keep your hands very warm. It's a substantial difference if you're outside as much as I am or my staff is. But along with it, they also have your toe warmers, or they have the entire insole one now to keep it, I consider it a foot warmer. So with the long one, it's going to cover the entire bottom of the boot, or with the toes, it just has it up front to keep the toes if that's what normally gets cold with you. But along with it, they have another brand new one. It's just called a peel and stick. And on the peel and stick body warmer, just like it says, these are for all the other areas, not the hands and feet. So say you're getting cold in the back of your neck, or you get cold in your thighs or the bottom of your calves or something. This is something that you just peel and stick on, and it's going to really keep that part of the body warm where maybe you don't have on your Under Armour or something like that on it. So hand warmers, hats, gloves, a couple other things that I wanted to talk about moving into the house, and that's boot trays and mats itself. When you're getting into the house, a lot of people don't realize some of the better mats that are out there. This is what I call a grabber type mat. This has the sweep on it. This has all these little notches, and when you're walking into a house and you're trying to stomp your feet or wipe your feet, if it's just one of those short bristle type of mats, it really doesn't knock a lot of the stuff off to it. But with this rib type of mat, this really knocks off a lot of the snow, the salt, the chemicals, and so forth with it. And there's just all these thousands of ribs that are there on the mat itself. But along with it, it's a solid rubber backing, and it has those knobs on the back for gripping so it doesn't slide around. But if you look closely enough at the mats, there's a lip all the way around it. So say you are knocking a bunch of snow off, it's not going to run off the mat, or it's not going to run through the mat. It's going to be maintained on the mat itself. So the mat's going to hold the liquid, so it's not going to damage the floor, the carpeting, the stairways, or whatever you have wherever it is that you're putting it. But this is one of my favorite type of mats that we use both residentially and commercially. But if you do have a lot of boots and people coming in and out, how about a nice boot tray to go along with that mat for taking your shoes or boots off prior to going in the house or moving around the house. This is it's over 1 inch deep on the boot tray itself. It's a nice big mat or tray. It's 17 by 35 inches, so you're going to put lots of pair of boots and shoes and so forth with it. But that way, overnight or during the day, when your shoes or boots or something are sitting just inside the door, try putting it on a boot tray so you're not tracking everything through the house or melting. The snow comes off of your boots and shoes onto the floor, ruining carpets, ruining your floors, or staining the ceramic and the tile floors. And so I like boot trays. I just absolutely like these scraper type of mats. But then all the rest of our different winter products here, from the gloves to the boot warmers to the snow brushes, it's just, I have fun showing you all the different products that are out there. And it's just another way I have of bringing to you some of the things that maybe you are not aware of to make your life easier and safer. So hope you enjoy the winter weather. Hope you enjoy some of the snow that's coming up. Stay safe, stay warm. And I do appreciate you always watching BPTV. I'm your host, Andy Amrine, and this was another Handy Andy segment. See you around town soon. Thank you.